been a very busy month for Google and all the new releases, and we've got a lot to go through. So I think we're going to get started right away. There were some brand new releases that just came out in the last couple of days. So we'll go through those very quickly first. Google's announced an update to Google Meet where it enables you to turn off the video feed for select people within the Google Meet. So for example, if I didn't want to look at one of my fantastic Apps Events colleagues, I could turn off their video feed, or I could just turn off everybody's video feed and just leave the presenter on. And that's great if there's any distracting audio and any distracting video in the background. They'll be rolling out to all Google Workspace versions. Don't have access to it yet. I'm not sure if it's possible to disable that, because maybe you wouldn't want students shutting off the video of a teacher, but we'll have to see as that rolls out. Next up, and I've got a feeling not many people are using Google Meet hardware. I know John is at Agilon, but in case you are using Google Meet hardware devices, there are additional admin privileges now as well. So you have more control about delegating admin roles, and that is specifically for Google Meet hardware devices. Okay, this is a great release, and Peter, actually, you drew my attention to this one. Assigning admin roles to specific groups. So what you can do now, rather than assigning super admin roles on a per user basis, you could create a group of IT admins and then assign the super admin role to that group. So rather than having to do this on an individual basis, you can assign the super admin role to a group, and everybody who is made a member of that group automatically receives the super admin privileges. And of course, that works both ways. When you remove them from an IT group, they would lose the super admin privileges as well. So that is using Google Groups to assign admin privileges or admin roles. Okay, I think you maybe saw this, and I actually don't have this release yet. This was announced last week. There's a refresh coming to the Google Chat interface. It is rolling out gradually, and I think, in fact, Peter or Dan, has anybody seen the new interface for chat yet? I certainly haven't got it yet. But it'll be rolling out the next week or so, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I think it's coming the next week, exactly what you said.
Okay, a slight update to label values for files in Google Drive. So if you're on Education Plus, which I know that many of you are, there's now an update where you can, there's automatic classification of capabilities of Drive labels, which will support default label values. If you click through on this, you'll see what it's about, but it just makes it easier to apply or ensure that critical labels are applied to files at file creation. So automatic label assignment. Okay, new features are coming to Google Chat, and I'm not sure if it was somebody here or not talking about currents. Is anybody using Google Currents within their school? I know James Seymour and we were talking about this yesterday for the Giuseppe admins group. Yeah, Currents is being deprecated on July 5th. And some of the features from Currents are coming to Google Chat. We'll see a couple more updates of that as well. But just an FYI, I think the big thing from this is that Google Currents, which replaced Google Plus, is now being deprecated. Okay, this is great. The new Google Drive location picker. This is actually fantastic. I haven't got this yet, but I know if you make a copy of a file or you want to move a file, the current location picker is a little bit fiddly. I don't really like it, to be honest, but this new one looks fantastic. It's going to make it much easier to choose the location of your copied file or wherever you're moving your file to. I've just made a little tag just down here on the bottom right, just talking about Google Drive and looking for files. A quick reminder, if you're on Google Education Plus, you do have access to Google's Cloud Search. And Cloud Search basically brings together everything that you have within Google. So from email to calendar to chat to Drive to sites, it brings it all together, and you can search across all of the products, all of your data at one time. So that's really just a reminder, cloudsearch.google.com, excellent, excellent tool. Practice sets, we're going to talk about this in a minute, so I'm going to skip past this, but quick preview. Practice sets are now generally available. Okay, Google Sites. Thankfully, we're not talking about the closing down date of old Google Sites anymore. But new collaboration tools are coming for Google Sites. It just makes it easier if you're collaborating on a site to see whereabouts other people are editing in the site. And there's also different layouts now. There's a couple of releases actually talking about the layout, the density of the text, and the width of the design of the Google site. So just a few updates there for Google Sites. Okay, part of that release about Google Chat and talking about currents and some of those features coming from currents to Google Chat, there are now additional space manager capabilities in Google Chat. So last year we got the capability to remove and add participants. They're all listed there. But now there's additional tools, including space configuration, better member management, and better conversation moderation as well. So basically with conversation moderation, you can choose who has the ability to message everybody using the @or within a space. Okay, and this is an interesting one for Google Chat as well, organizational communication within announcements. So this is, you can create a space with restricted post settings. So a little bit like a group with post-only settings for the owners. You can create a space with restricted post setting where admins or admins of the space, they can post to the space, and everybody who's a member of the space, they're able just to read it, possibly reply to it in thread, but they can't initiate posts. So this would be good for organizational announcements. Rather than using email, rather than using a Google group, you could use this for all of your organizational announcements. Be interesting to see how schools use that as this rolls out. I have a feeling that we already talked about search chips in Google Drive. I'm sure we did. I think it was in beta before. But anyway, just a quick reminder, search chips have come to Google Drive. You'll see those across the top. Just makes it much easier to locate files within Google Drive. Update to Google Chat. If you're familiar with installing apps into chat spaces, now you can do it for direct messages as well. Basically, you go to a Workspace Marketplace. There are a series of different apps that you can install. One of those is just demoed here is PagerDuty, but there's a variety of different apps that you can install. You can also create your own apps to install within Google Chat as well. I've got a feeling, again, this may have been announced already. I remember talking about it before, but just working locations within the Calendar API. Now you can programmatically set working locations of staff. Probably not so applicable to schools. Connected Sheets, so just a reminder what Connected Sheets are. Connected Sheets connect to data within BigQuery. This one is really kind of an advanced release. And any data, any BigQuery or Looker hosted instances, Connected Sheets can now connect to any Looker hosted data as well. So we're all really about Connected Sheets. So basically it's using the Google Sheets interface to query data, big sets of data. Client-side encryption, just actually, is anybody here right now using client-side encryption for any of the apps or anything at all within their domain? I'm just curious. Okay, with that silence, I'll take that as a no, but it is coming to, you can add or remove clients, as it said. Yeah, David, I saw you, yeah, you're looking at it. I just had a conversation with Google Hong Kong, and they were talking about a number of local schools are now employing client-side encryption in Hong Kong for a variety of reasons. And the suggestion was that it was becoming more popular. Let's just leave it at that. I know we're recording this. But yeah, it is becoming more popular with certain schools. So it was interesting.
We're looking at it in particular for things like the finance team, with a sense that they should have some kind of encryption on their stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, actually, David, I was thinking about embassy schools as well, government-related schools.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. Perhaps oh yeah, Adam, yeah, good one.
Yes.
Counseling department as well. Yeah.
Yeah, once we work it out, yes, we would definitely be exploring the implications further afield. Medical center, counseling, anything that has confidential content, maybe board related stuff, a whole range of things.
Actually, good thought, actually, David. Maybe we could organize a roundtable about talking about client-side encryption and how it could be used and how it could be implemented.
That would be very useful, I think, yes.
For a future call. Yeah, let's arrange that. We'll come back to that, David. Thank you. Quick update for Google Docs, just better content organization. There's different styles, toggling page numbers and so on. So really, it's just an interface update for Google Docs. This is a great one, improving security with shorter session length default. So you can reduce the session length to, I think it's 16 hours. Yes. So you can reduce it down to 16 hours.